Welcome back to Marvel Maniac and MCU After Show. This is your host, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest. I'm back to you today with She-Hulk, episode 5, titled Mean, Green, and Straight Poured Into These Jeans. I like the title, and I'm sure that it will have some relevance as to a line in the episode, which I will point out when I get to it. This week I'm doing a watch and review as I go. So I want to keep it as fresh as possible for you this week and as incredible as possible. Yeah, I went there. What have you been thinking of She-Hulk so far this season? Has it been as smashing as can be, or has it been underwhelming for you? I don't think anyone, I have not heard anyone tell me that She-Hulk Attorney at Law has been underwhelming. But maybe somebody out there really wanted like a Doctor Strange cameo and had their expectations like beyond through the roof or something like that. I don't know. I've been very, very happy so far. However, I'd like to argue against that. At least in a positive way. So marvelmaniacpod@gmail.com. Let's hear your thoughts. Positive reviews on the show go a long way. I'll say that early on this episode. So leave a review wherever you're listening and share the show with a friend. And without further ado, let's get into this week's episode. Mean, green, and straight poured into these jeans. I'll say it one more time. Strength is beauty. Beauty is strength. What makes you beautiful? Own who you are. Not the worst words to say to yourself as like positive affirmations, but not the best thing for Jennifer Walters to hear when her name's being stolen from her. She-Hulk by Titania. We get our episode opening up with an ad for Titania's new skincare product titled She-Hulk. And Titania, our super heroine, or maybe opposite, I don't know what she is really at the beginning of this episode. She's kind of an anti-hero. I don't know why I'm calling her an anti-hero, because I have a feeling she might team up with She-Hulk in one way or another. She's probably... The next day, driving to the office, Jen sees another advertisement for it in the form of a billboard, She-Hulk by Titania. She's not even using green. She's using gold and pink. Kind of an insult added to injury, if you ask me. Jen's listening to the radio, and a podcast comes on. So I don't know if she's purposely listening to this, but you hear Titania come on the radio, and she calls her people Titaniacs. So I don't know if Titania is coming for our audience, and she's going to take Marvel Maniac from us as well, guys. I'm a little concerned. I might have to get this trademarked. Totally trademarked, by the way. Totally. If any of you pulls a Titania on me, I'm going to She-Hulk you. Which I don't know by the end of this episode that even technically means, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to lawyer you. I'm going to lawyer this thing. It's not a threat. Those were all individual vocally recorded clips. I'm not in any way prepared for any taking of my name, Marvel Maniac, and all I have is the proof in the pudding that I have made these episodes with all of my heart and soul for the last year and some year and a half, 2 years, 10 years. I'm lying now. As Jen settles into her couch at home with some ice cream, Ched, her cousin, walks in, and man, Ched is something else. I'm still not sure Ched is her cousin or her brother, to be 100% honest with you. But I'm leaning in on cousin, but probably her brother. I don't know. I all I know is it's that family member who just is outrageous and kind of using Jen right now to get signatures on things, because he's just selling things that she signs, and he is just so funny. The things he wants her to sign right now, I'm assuming he's had her sign things before, but the things he wants her to sign right now are the Titania products that say She-Hulk on them, so she's refusing to sign them. She lets him know that Titania has trademarked her name, and he asks, why did you let her do that? And she says, I didn't let her do that. Ched lets her know how a trademark works, and she screams into a pillow, and we get our title, She-Hulk. This seems to be the beginning of a very funny, lighthearted episode. Instead of She-Hulk Attorney at Law, we get She-Hulk by Titania as our title card. She's taking over. Jen and Nikki approach a store covered in ads with She-Hulk by Titania all over it. A line waits outside. Titania already has that superstar presence, and Jen is battling like a social media all-star. So it's kind of intimidating for Jen. She hasn't really taken anything like this before. She's fought demons. She's fought thugs, but she hasn't fought social media. Jen is kind of surprised that Nikki follows Titania, and she says it's for reconnaissance. But we know that's not true. I mean, it seems like everyone follows Titania. I probably would follow Titania. You know what? I'm not sure that's true. Okay, I already follow Titania. Let's be honest. I follow her currently. They walk into the place, and it looks like pretty much an Apple store. It's really done up for a skincare product. Jen looks at a product, and it says Snake Venom Lip Plumber. She's literally selling snake oil, Jen tells Nikki. That just makes me think of the video game Red Dead Redemption, being a cowboy. She looks at more products, beauty serum, beauty oil, beauty tonic, and she says, how are they not all the same exact thing? My question exactly. I'm with her on this. Nikki disagrees. She says, are you kidding me? They're all completely different. And it definitely shows a big difference between the type of people Jen and Nikki are in terms of just like characters and people. You know what I mean? Like I know people like Jen. I know people like Nikki. Not in terms of the makeup they buy, but just in terms of like the products we get and knowing the products we get and being really specific about the products we get. At a table, Titania gives a fan a signed copy of her photo as Jen approaches her cautiously. Titania says to Jen, I'm so sorry, little child, but the line starts way back there. And just completely ready for this, not even ready to be slighted, Jen says, I don't want a cut. I want you to stop and take all this down. You're using my name to sell your trashy products, and you're suing me? Get over it, Jennifer. The name She-Hulk is mine, Titania tells her. And then Jen takes a photo for her on top of it, because why not? I mean, it is a photo shoot, and she can't help what's actually happening here. And like she's trying to probably fix the situation, but in the long run, like she has to take this photo for Titania at this exact moment. Well, I don't know why she did that. At the office, Jen is complaining to Nikki that she can't believe that Titania stole her name like that, and Nikki argues that you did say you didn't like the name anyways. I don't, Jen says. It's just what people decided to call me. It's not who I am. I'm still Jennifer Walters. She-Hulk is a thing that just happened to me. And it's a fair point. She is She-Hulk at this point. It's her identity. It's pretty much her second name. She can't control that is who she actually is at this point. That is a really good perspective to have, Nikki tells Jen. I admit that there are parts that I enjoy, Jen tells her. The amazing hair, no hangover, being able to walk home at night with headphones on without being afraid. Yeah, I can imagine that Jen isn't afraid of much right now. Like we were talking about last week, where people are putting syringes in her arms, trying to take blood. Oh my goodness. I can't even imagine what that other half of the story is leading to. I think another Hulk will be made by the end of the show. I mean, there seems to be like a vibranium needle in the making. So you're totally over it, Nikki asked Jen, and Jen says, yeah, as She-Hulk, totally over it, and is squeezing a stapler to nothing in her hand. Later, Pug and Nikki have a pretty interesting conversation. He wants Nikki to stand in line with him to get the latest sneakers, the Iron Man 3s. I want those, whatever they look like. He wants 2 pairs, one to rock and one to stock, and he can only get 1 pair, and Nikki will get him another pair. He brags to Nikki that he's got some pretty rare limited editions through his drip broker, and Nikki asks him if Alonzo, his drip broker, could find someone who could do custom clothing for a supersized person. Jen is watching Titania's social media story, and she breaks the fourth wall with us quickly, and she says, I'm over it. I really am. Nikki and Pug get to a boba cafe tea place, and they have this really funny exchange with the guy about not being cops, and Nikki even tells him in Chinese. She says that they're not cops, and it takes a little bit, but he does end up having something for them. And it's a bunch of bootleg Avenger stuff called Avengers. We saw a little bit of this in the credits of the courtroom sketches. Pug asks him, if you're not the guy, do you know who the guy is? And the man replies, he won't meet with you. He's exclusive. So they are onto something here. Pug is holding Thor's fake hammer as he asks him this, so he's not super convincing. Nikki's just happy that he does know the guy. And as am I. Could this possibly be the guy who makes the suit for Daredevil is my question. Maybe. Just maybe. Me making predictions for an episode that's currently happening that you already know the answers to probably isn't the greatest entertainment in podcast form. However, it's fun for me in this moment, which might be fun in effect back to you. I am not 100% certain. Nikki buys Pug and her a ton of Avengers garb, including Pug, Thor, Thor Mjolnir, and Captain America's shield, and they make their way up into what seems to be like a penthouse or something. They're going up an elevator. It could be the door in the TVA, for all I know, with the gold elevator shaft, from what I remember from Loki. Nikki reaches for an intercom, and before she could hit it, a voice comes out over it and says no. They ask Nikki if she has a referral. At first she says Titania, and then that is a lie. She gets turned away from that, and then she says my client is an Avenger. That gets her a 15-minute consultation. Nikki knows how to get it done. Elsewhere, She-Hulk watches Holloway eat pistachios. He says, why did I pass the billboard on Santa Monica Boulevard today, advertising a She-Hulk Booty Boost smoothie? She explains the situation to him, or at least starts to, and he cuts her off, and he says, yeah, I'm going to stop you, because that's none of my concern. I don't like this very much. It bothers me, because he doesn't really hear her out. GLK&H made She-Hulk the face of our superhuman law division, and now we find ourselves in the middle of a frivolous lawsuit. No one hires a firm that can't handle its own messes. I am going to fix this, sir, and he says, no, you won't. And we get another lawyer. Mallory Book tells her, at least you're not foolish enough to try and fix this yourself. She tells Jennifer, I'm taking this on as a professional courtesy, but moving forward, we're not colleagues. I'm the attorney, you're the client, and that's the only way this can work. Agreed, and Jen agrees cautiously. Why didn't you trademark your own pseudonym? I never even thought about it. Why would I? Did Doctor Strange have to trademark his name? Did Thor? You chose two examples of two people who use their real names. Mallory has a picture up of Titania and says, this is the person who legally outmaneuvered you? Jen is just super, basically, ashamed of this, and this is kind of surprising that, Titania got this one up on She-Hulk. You wouldn't expect that. Mallory says that we need to show strength, countersue, establish that you were using the name She-Hulk in a professional capacity before the trademark date, and Titania is profiting off a name recognition already established in the marketplace. She goes on to tell her that she's going to have to look like she dresses like she respects herself if she's going to be her client, and not like a football player who's pleading no contest to a DUI. Oh my goodness, savage. She calls Nikki in to tell her to get something together for Jen, and she says she's already on top of it, as we already know. And she's got a meeting with the guy who makes clothing for superheroes. Jen says, I don't think I really need that. And Mallory and Nikki both simultaneously say, you do. Wow, Jen is not getting it super easy in this episode. She is getting it at all ends. In court, Titania poses as her lawyer snaps several photos. Mallory and She-Hulk arrive. Titania says, nice suit, Shrek. Oh my gosh, she is very unlikable, this Titania, and I called her an anti-hero at the beginning of the episode. I'm just going to call her anti at this point. Titania's lawyer says, Your Honor, we move to dismiss this entirely frivolous suit. My client owns the trademark for She-Hulk. He goes on to say that this entire case is going to be a waste of time. I will quote Mallory because what she says is just amazing. As you see, there is no issue of facts here that will require proceeding to trial. Since the first public appearance of Jennifer Walters in her Hulk form, the public has unanimously identified her with the name She-Hulk. In fact, the name She-Hulk had not even been recorded in public discourse until that debut. Simply put, the defendant is exploiting goodwill towards my client and her better-known cousin in order to sell her non-FDA approved sham product. Titania does not really respond well with the fact that she's called a sham, or her products are called a sham, and she has all of her products on display on a line here, and she offers the judge some. I really thought Mallory Book's argument really brought it home. Titania's lawyer says what my client is trying to say is that She-Hulk Jennifer Walters was not interested in the name She-Hulk until it became associated with Titania. He then plays a clip that's of Jen walking out of a courtroom saying, "My name has never been and never will be She-Hulk." Mallory also has a clip. It's Jen doing an official interview opposed to her walking out of the courtroom. And it's, "How did you choose the name She-Hulk?" And she admits, "I didn't choose the name. Some random guy on the news came up with it. But it stuck. So now, whether I like it or not, I am forever She-Hulk." Who knew that the naming of the hero would be so relevant in this show? It is kind of fourth wall bending in its own right. Like, She-Hulk herself is the name of the hero. That is a whole episode point. Like, her getting the rights to that name. Mallory says, "My client clearly stated that she is She-Hulk. Judge states that this is just one instance. Can you prove that there is a pattern of Miss Walters' personal use of the name?" "Yes, we have more to present," Mallory says. And Titania gives She-Hulk this look where she, like, mimes, like, gives her this, like, miming, that look. And She-Hulk looks kind of, like, terrified, like the look of, I don't think I have much more to go off of here. Later, Nikki takes Jen to the place where her superhero outfit is being made. I'm not saying costume. I almost said costume. And it is being made by a man named Luke Jacobson. And this guy knows what he's doing. He is a fashion designer. This looks like it is in his blood, fashion designer. The word Avenger is tossed around quite a bit here, and Jen is a little bit thrown off by this, but hey, I love it. We know that She-Hulk is going to be in the next Avengers movie just by all the throwing around of this here, and I cannot wait to see her break the fourth wall in one of those movies. Nikki tells him the Hulk is her cousin, and he says, "By blood?" And she says, "Yes, she is going to be a megastar." Luke says, "Her?" Because the suit, we've been talking about this at least since the first time she put it on. This suit is just hanging off of her. We need to see her in something new by now. Okay, what kind of superheroing do you do? Do you need built-in weaponry, waterproofing, fire resistance? Now we're talking. This is some real superhero talk. "No, I don't actually need a suit like that. I just need a business suit," Jen tells him. "Everything I make stands up to the highest combat standards. I don't make basic shit," he tells her. "I don't really need any of that. I'm a lawyer," Jen tells Luke. Nikki tells him that she needs a suit that could work for Jen and She-Hulk, and she shows him the transformation, and this kind of gets him. I think Nikki calls Jen impish in this transformation, and yeah, the look on his face during this is just priceless. He tells Tinsley to order extra bolts of the stretched wool. "We're going to need a lot of fabric." Later, Jen asks Nikki why did he have to be so mean, and Nikki says it's in fashion, it's cool. In Mallory's office, She-Hulk asks Nikki why he had to be so mean, and Nikki tells her that it's kind of cool to be mean in fashion. And then she sees, with Mallory, Todd, the guy who called her a specimen, the guy who I found very suspicious last week, who I really think is going to try and take some of her blood and try and make like another Hulk. I think he's with those guys from the previous week. 2 weeks ago, those guys who tried to jump her. She asks if he's a client or something. He says he is, and he just had a meeting with Mallory. He tells her we should reconnect soon, and she says, "Yeah, that would be great." And he says, "Drinks on me." He's incredibly awkward. She agrees, and Nikki says, "You rolled over so quickly, but the drinks are on him, girl." And this kind of leads Jen to having this revelation that she went on her dating profile as She-Hulk using the name. So this is kind of going to work for her here, which is kind of really amazing. Nikki says, "By parading all the questionable men you dated in front of a courtroom." Oh, Jen, this is going to be embarrassing, which it really is, but at least it's going to win her the case. In the courtroom, Titania sports green again. She is just really leaning in to the fact that she owns Jen's name right now. Not for long, though. I do not think she's going to have it much longer. Mallory pulls up her dating profile on the site that she went on, and here we get the title of this episode: "Mean, Green, and Straight Poured into These Jeans." Most likely the thing that is about to win her this case. That is what is on the About Me section. And the answer to the question, "What are you looking for in a partner?" my client wrote, "A sturdy back and a reinforced king-size bed. JK, JK, JK. The first date that she had, the big bulk guy, said she came across a little bit try-hard, to be honest, and he's not all about that. The guy who she ended up bringing home said, She-Hulk and I had an intense connection. We had a great date. She battled demons? I mean, come on. Would you have gone on the date if She-Hulk had instead presented as Jennifer Walters? Look, I don't mean to be rude, but no, she's not really my type. But She-Hulk, she's incredible. She's amazing. That's really hard for Jennifer, clearly, but this helps her case. And would be the final thing that just helps her actually win the case. In light of this new testimony, the court favors Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk. Titania and her subsidiaries will cease usage of the She-Hulk name effective immediately. That is satisfying. All current products on the market must be recalled. Followed by that ever so satisfying gabble. Titania strides over to She-Hulk and faces her, leaning on the desk. She tells her this isn't over, hater. She shoves the gate into the gallery as she storms off. Yeah, this is definitely not the last we're going to see of Titania. I don't even think this is like the last we'll see of her this season. She-Hulk's first date, that mean guy, that angry mean guy, it's not that he's mean, but like he's got a mean attitude. He like tried to pick up Titania on the way out, and she tells him to go come buy me things. And I think like they went out and got on the date or something like that. Mallory tells She-Hulk outside that she could do better and that she deserves better, and I agree. Jennifer Walters, you deserve better. Jen asks Mallory if she could buy her a drink to say thanks, and she says sure, and She-Hulk breaks the camera with like a cheer. Mallory tells her I don't know any other lawyer who would humiliate themselves that way to win a case. Jen tells her you can always count on me to throw myself under the bus. It's why Holloway pays me the medium bucks, and she replies he couldn't have gone through that. He's never had to prove his value to a parade of underwhelming men. Mallory says one of the best quotable lines is you can have literal superpowers and some guy with an internet connection could somehow still think he could do better. Yeah, how could you do better than Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk? I mean, gentlemen, you can't do much better than this. Jen says, I'm so happy we're friends now, and they both kind of have this look on their face. And she says, did I just say that out loud? Mallory reminds her that she didn't get better clothes yet, and Jen breaks the fourth wall again and says, oh yeah, my clothes. She-Hulk enters Luke's elegant workroom. He rolls out a rack of garment bags and sends her into a dressing room with one. She seems super excited about this. He also hands her something else and says, I made you a little something extra. She says she doesn't know that she'll really have an occasion for this, but he says, just say thank you, and she says, thank you. This shouldn't just be left out in the open, he says, and oh my goodness, and he has Daredevil's mask in, I feel like I'm these army soldiers in Toy Story, and he has Daredevil's mask in a thing, and he says, does client confidentiality mean nothing to you, Tinsley? And yes, we are getting Daredevil, probably next week, and probably meaning for me tomorrow, when I record this, hopefully it'll actually be tomorrow, meaning I'll be back up on my episodes. It looks like we're getting actual Daredevil, and it's a gold mask, which we saw in the trailers, and it looks so cool, and I am so excited for Daredevil. That is where we are at the end of this episode. We don't get to see Jen in her new suit yet. That's probably also saved for next week. Oh my gosh, I didn't know with just a few minutes left how they were going to end this episode on a cliffhanger with what, Jen in her suit? No, we don't get to see the suit yet. We get to know Daredevil is coming. Daredevil is coming. This show being so good, so far so good, we get Daredevil on his way into the MCU. Not that he hasn't been. We know that he's been, we've had Charlie Cox, we've had Matt Murdock, but we have officially gotten a piece of the Daredevil suit in the MCU now. So we are getting him probably next week. I'm hoping, praying, hoping that we get him next week. Forgive my ultra excitement, but this is pretty great. I was thinking it was going to be maybe like the season finale, but there's still a few episodes left, so hopefully we get more than a few episodes of an arc with Charlie Cox's Daredevil. Let's give props to the writer of this series, Jessica Gao, for keeping it just super, the flow of this series is super amazing. I am loving She-Hulk Attorney at Law. How about you? We get some extra courtroom sketches of Titania, products being sold by Cousin Ched, And that is what the IMDb refers to him as, so I was not wrong. He is Cousin Ched. Another sketch shows Holloway drinking some of the booty boost juice that was referred to. So I think he actually tried some of that before he had Jennifer in. We get a really cool sketch of Pug holding his Iron Man shoes, and then in the background he has some other shoes, some very awesome superhero looking shoes. I see a Captain Marvel theme and probably a bunch of other themes. Do you catch any superhero themes that I'm missing? Maybe even some foreshadowing of some superheroes we don't have yet in the background? What am I missing? MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. Let's get your feedback. First episode yet without a post-credit scene. I'm not mad. I'm thinking this is just a mid-season episode that's a little bit slower because we're going to get a lot more high-paced episodes coming up. So, I mean, if this is a slow episode, I'm okay with it. We have our Reddit comments now. We're going to reddit.com/rmarvelstudios every week. We go for our post-episode comments for now until we get floods of emails coming from Marvel superfans. PZZACO, Pizco says, I know the show is very sparring on the action for some reason, and I still love the show, but I really hope She-Hulk and Titania have a proper brawl again. I can really, really hope for that too. I could see that happening, a bigger fight between the two of them at some point. Let's see here. Your Mind Aches says, man, I wish Renee Elise Goldberry was in more of the previous episodes being an alpha bitch so we could see how she warms up to Jen. Absolutely loved her character. Yeah, I liked her a lot. She was fantastic. Smacksaw replied, well, I guess Daredevil mask is our post-credit scene. Lemon Jello 23 commented, Marvel, the helmet will do. Yeah, that's really good. Midnight Marbles commented, Marvel characters not yet in the MCU, but who have shoes on the wall in the end credits. This is what we wanted. Nova, Namor, Cyclops, The Thing, Deadpool, Ghost Rider, Cable, Iceman, Man-Thing. Dang, that is the info I was looking for a second ago. That is really, really good. Nice one, Eric Voss, Vades97 said. Smarcus Stroman said, I feel like that last-minute reveal would have packed a massive punch if we didn't already know we were getting Daredevil from the trailer. True. However, they had to put that in the trailer just for, like, fans' sake. People needed to know that beforehand. However, I would have went madly insane not knowing Daredevil was coming. And then, I mean, I was already going insane just knowing he was coming next week. Femipool said, could the reason Daredevil shows up in LA simply be as simple as him picking up his new suit? Probably. I didn't know he was getting a new suit until the trailer, so it could just be he's just in LA to get a brand new suit. I'm assuming one suit is a slick lawyering suit and the other is her comic book one piece she can use for workouts and superheroing. That is Comeback Shane said that. And a reply to that is Cowpool20. Yeah, the second suit he gave her is definitely her superhero suit. That is really cool. And one more comment. I really hope that's true, by the way. I really hope that's true. White Thane says, mean, green, and straight poured into these jeans. Well, that needs to be a flare for Reddit. That's a Reddit flare. We'll read one more comment after that. With how much the Hulk has appeared, I'm honestly surprised this is the first time we've gotten a Shrek name drop. Yeah, that's actually very true. It's a really mean name to call a big, mean, green poured into those jeans machine, you know what I mean? Especially, you know, it's a little meaner to call a woman that, especially. So I guess that's pretty much why. I wonder why she went Shrek and not Fiona. Well, because that's even, I guess, a little bit meaner in that case. The court of James, to hurt more, replied. And Jarrett said the original comment. Okay, that is our episode for today. Forgive the word jumble at the end. I'm a little bit excited about Daredevil, and I wanted to give you a little bit our Marvel Studios to see what the fans were saying. When I'm posting this is a day before the release of the episode 6 of She-Hulk Attorney at Law. This is episode 5. Lean. I'm going to butcher the name of this episode. I have to go back and look at it. Mean, green, and straight poured into these jeans. I'm not going to say that again. This is episode 5 of She-Hulk. I am your host, of Marvel Maniac and MCU After Show, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest. This has been a blast to talk about with you today. I hope you have felt incredible, smashing, marvelous being here with me today. We will talk to you soon, if not from where I'm standing, tomorrow, for the after show for episode 6. And I hope we get some Daredevil action. And we have a lot more to come this year from Marvel and in the future. And I hope Marvel Maniac can be at least one of your sources, if not one of your main sources for after shows, podcasts. Like I said in the last one, I am not a conventional show. I'm taking my time with this, going through my own redemption arc in my own life right now. Not going to get into personal stories, but I am just super happy to be here talking about one of my favorite things, superheroes. And if you love the show, rate it wherever you listen. You can support the podcast at patreon.com/Marvel Maniac. And we'd love to hear your thoughts at marvelmaniacpod@gmail.com. And until next time, Avengers, disassemble.